I used to think that exhaustion was just a part of mom life. That wired but tired feeling, the mental fog, craving for sugar and quiet at the same time. But then I learned that the first hour of your day might be the most powerful predictor of who you are becoming. Today's guest has built multi-million-dollar brands, beat addiction, and led thousands, not with hustle, but with habits. If you've ever wanted to feel in control again, then this is your invitation back to yourself. Welcome to the Life Lounge podcast, your front row seat to everything happening inside Life Network. I am your host, Karie Johnson, and each week we bring you top voices, transformational brands, and insider updates you don't want to miss. This is where self-transformation meets community, because when we grow together, we go farther. So let's dive in. Today's guest is Michael Chernow, powerhouse entrepreneur, husband, father, and founder of Kreatures of Habit, a brand redefining what it means to build a healthy life, one morning at a time. From co-founding the meatball shop, mental shop too, maybe, and Seymour's, I know, right? And Seymour's to creating wellness routines that are simple, powerful, and sustainable, Michael leads with discipline, heart, and humility. He's not just building products, he's building people. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much. What an intro. My gosh, that was awesome. I love that. I'm going to have to steal some sound bites of that one.
Oh, sweet. I love it. Yes. Oh my gosh. So we are just so grateful to have you. So Michael is one of our latest core contributing experts here on Life Network, a friend of Ben's and amazing product line, Kreatures of Habit. So I love to kind of dig into origin stories for founders and their backstory. And Michael has a very, very powerful one. So I kind of would like to start there a little bit, Michael, just so people who do not know what Kreatures of Habit is, who you are. I kind of want to know like the pain to power story before the world knew your name. What was the moment that you knew that something had to change?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New York City. So I was born in 1980. And,
Me too.
oh, sweet.
Oh, yeah.
That 80 babies. Love 80
yeah.
babies. When's your birthday?
January 13th. What about you?
Okay, October 21st.
Okay, I'm a little older.
I'm coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, somehow, I think I was born with an inherent desire to want to make, do, and create. I always was an outgoing kid. I enjoyed being around people a lot. I felt very comfortable around people, even though there were moments throughout my childhood and my adolescence that I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, which we'll get to. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I really did just have this gravitational pull towards creating and connecting. And so, as early as I can remember, I was selling toys on the corner of 87th Street and 2nd Avenue. When I was like 5 years old, I would ask my older sister to come down. And for me, it was not only about getting out there and making some cash, but it was also about just talking to people, right? Like a lot of people stopped when there was a 5-year-old kid selling his He-Mans on the corner of 87th Street and 2nd Avenue.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And so I wasn't the kind of kid that just like let my toys sort of collect dust in the corner. If I wasn't playing with them, I would literally take them downstairs and sell them. And then, I got into baseball card trading and basketball card trading, and I went to the trade shows. And, Gary Vee and I share that in common. That's kind of how we really immediately sort of connected, that, that was a big part of our life as like a young kid. And then I built a dog walking business, and I saw that there were so many high-rise buildings in the area that I grew up in, and in most of those buildings there was a laundry room. So I made these little flyers, handwritten, and said, "Hey, if you need anybody to walk your dog, call me." And before I knew it, I was walking 15 dogs in the neighborhood, and I was doing that all before 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and then at 12, I got a job in a restaurant, and I walked into this place. And they hired me. I was on rollerblades, and I was like, "Hey, I'll deliver food super fast on these rollerblades, faster than your bike delivery guys."
Oh, yeah.
And they hired me, and I started working in the restaurant, and then they put me in the kitchen as a dishwasher and then a prep cook, and then they gave me an opportunity to work out on the floor as a busboy, and I worked in this ironically vegan restaurant for a couple of years as a kid.
Okay.
But really, I really found my place in the restaurant, and I stayed working in restaurants all through high school. And after high school, I did a year of college, realized that like it was a waste of my time. I was falling asleep through class, and it just wasn't for me. I was also in a pretty dark place in my life at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, ended up making a decision. And that question that you asked, like, when was it that you knew something had to change? Because I had been working in restaurants for most of my childhood, adolescence, and I had a pretty rough and tumble upbringing with my father. My father was a very difficult guy, very abusive guy. So for me, it was like any opportunity I got to get out of the house, I took, and
Hmm.
that meant like sleeping over at all my friends' houses as a young kid,
Yeah.
I sort of hid in sports. I really escaped into sports, so I was very good at hockey, and I would sleep at the ice hockey rink.
Wow.
And so I just really I escaped out of my parents' house, and I worked in restaurants, and that ultimately exposed me to what happens at night in New York City.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Right.
so I drank a lot, I partied a lot, and it got to the point where it was no longer for fun. It was really sort
Mm,
of a reliance. And
you're right.
when I was 23, that from 21 really to 23 was the sort of the peak of that journey, and I overdosed. I overdosed on heroin, and
Gosh.
I never thought that I would let myself get to that point, quite
Oh my
frankly,
gosh.
because I'm the same
Yeah.
guy I'm the same guy now that I was then, but
Yeah.
I was struggling. I was struggling, and
Yeah.
I was treading water, and I was
Mm,
and really it was me trying to find a better way, a way uh to live my life. And when the drugs and the alcohol first came in, they saved me because I was definitely not happy with myself at that young
right.
age. And so ultimately I had to make a decision, right? This was now a life or death decision. I had overdosed, I had died, I'd come back, and they saved me. And 2 weeks after that, I made a decision to ask for help for real. Everybody had been tapping on my shoulder, telling me that, you're gonna die,
You need
dude.
some help.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need help.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for you. And
I,
everybody loved me because I still carried this like facade that everything was
mm,
okay.
interesting.
But I asked for help, and help showed up, and it showed up through a guy named Marcus who came into my life at that time. And he was, in those days, I guess almost 21 years ago, wellness wasn't really a term people were using. It was just like healthy,
Yeah. Right.
you're
Right.
living a
Workout.
healthier life, work out, eat right. And he introduced me to that. And he said, "This is going to be your ticket out, man. This is going to be your ticket out, and I'm going to be your ally. And I'm not going to chase
Wow.
you around. I'm not going to beg you to do this, but I can write a plan for you, and I'm here if you take action." And so he wrote out this plan, and he started that plan started with wake up as early as you can in the morning. And for me in those days, it was like morning. Like, I don't wake up in the mornings. I
Right.
wake up at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he was like, okay, well, like, we're going to work on that, but basically wake up as early as you can. And he said, as soon as you get out of bed, I want you to stand up and turn around and make your bed immediately. I want you to make your bed right away. He was like, when was the last time you made your bed? I was like, honestly, I just don't know. I don't know if I've ever made my bed. But he was like, I want you to make your bed right away. And then I want you to go into the bathroom. I want you to brush your teeth, wash your face, floss your teeth, put on your contact lenses, and then drop down on your knees and ask God for help. And I was like, whoa,
Mm.
whoa, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, what,
Powerful.
what are you talking about, man? Like,
Yeah, like foreign language.
yeah. And he basically said, look, I'm not asking you to believe in God. I'm not asking you to believe in anything, but I know that you need help, and you know that you need help. And the best way to start your day every single day is asking for help from a power greater than yourself. And
Surrender.
if you can't get behind that, I don't know if I can help you, but if you can get
Right.
behind that, this is something that I do every single day that's really helped me immensely. And so he said, ask God for help. And it can just look like dropping down on your knees and saying help. But it could also look like, the Serenity Prayer. It could look like the St. Francis Prayer. It could look like any kind of thing you want it to be. But just make sure you're connecting and asking for help. And then right after you're done with that, I want you to do as many push-ups as you can,
Yeah.
and get up, take a piss, walk back into your bedroom, put on a pair of sneakers, and get out of your house immediately.
Okay.
Try to get out onto the street
Yeah.
and take a walk. And that walk could be a block, that could be 10 blocks, it could be a jog, it could be a 10-mile run. But I just want you to get out and move your body. As soon as you get back from that, I want you to have a big bowl of oatmeal. Just make a big bowl of oatmeal. It's easy, it's accessible, it's satiating. and it's healthy, and you can make it kind of taste however you want by adding things to it. And he
Yeah.
gave me kind of like a little recipe of what he adds to his oatmeal. And then he said, right after you're done with your oatmeal, I want you to go to this meeting and sit in the front, raise your hand, tell them that you're an alcoholic, and tell them your name. And then when you're done with that meeting, come down and meet me at this gym. And I'm going to train with you, and I'm going to teach you how to be a responsible man.
Wow.
And that's going to come in the way of discipline and consistency and commitment. And then he said, after that, you're going to have some chicken and broccoli. You're going to go home. You're going to take a nap. You're going to wake up. You're going to go to work. You're going to have chicken and broccoli again for dinner. You're going to try to have that as early as you can before 9 o'clock. And then you're going to be done with work. And I was working in the restaurant. And he said, you're going to go to bed as early as you can. Right before you go to bed, you're going to drop back down on your knees. You're going to say thank you.
Wow.
Close your eyes, go to bed, wake up, rinse and repeat. And that's going to be your life. And he said, if you can do that, I guarantee you will build a life way beyond your wildest dreams. It's just that
Mm.
simple.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I believed him. And that's basically my life plan today. I don't take a nap
Yeah.
anymore. But I wish I did. Sometimes I do. But I have followed that plan, and it has ultimately built me a life way beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And
Mm.
now it's August 2nd, will be 21 years in recovery.
Yeah. Holy
So
smokes. Congratulations.
thank you.
On that and just everything. Holy smokes. Like, and I know just from, following you and listening to, it's like all about the small daily habits. And it's just every single one that he laid out for you. How much older was he by chance?
So I'm 44. I think he's 57, 58. So he's about 12, 13
Okay.
years older than me. And
Okay.
he was sober at that point. I think he was sober like 12, 13 years.
Okay. So he was helping the person that he once was. And
Yeah,
that's who
exactly.
we're always positioned best to serve. And then he was just a personal trainer that you were connected with,
He wasn't a
basically?
personal trainer. He was actually an entrepreneur, but he was a
Wow.
competitive Muay Thai kickboxer.
Oh my gosh.
So when the gym that he had me go down to was a Muay Thai academy, and
Sweet.
that, Muay Thai, Muay Thai, the program
Okay.
of sobriety,
Yeah.
that really saved my life, and I
Yeah.
dove deep into all of those things. Marcus and I developed this long lasting friendship. He's still a brother of mine, and
Amazing.
I trained and competed in Muay Thai for 12 years.
Wow.
And I built, like, if you look at me now and look at me about a year after I got sober, I kind of look the same.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't really aged much since I
Wow.
got sober, which is pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That and like all of the other amazing habits that you've probably just implemented over time too, just to help counteracting the daily life that we live and, but then also just the amazing blessings that are in your life now too, that just like that positivity just radiates from you because you do have that like internal fire within you that kind of wakes you up every single day because it's not, I mean, laid out on paper, how Marcus laid it out, like, yeah, I'll do that. But most people are like, maybe 30 days max. So,
Yeah, I mean, I have one at a time tattooed on my wrist right here. Like, I was in a dire situation, right? I was ready, you know, the day before I met Marcus, I wanted to die. Legit. Like, I wanted to jump out my 6-story window. I really did. And I think when you're brought to a place like that, but there's like there's a moment of grace is what I call it. I had a real moment of grace where I
yeah.
came to that next day, and I saw my life kind of before my eyes and said, this can't be can't do this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm worth too much. I'm too good of a human being to allow this to be my life. And I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I want to live. And so, that plan is a pretty intense plan for anybody to follow. And by the way, like, I failed many times and I needed help to get back on
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
I luckily hadn't had the desire to take a drink or a drug from that day forward. So I've been
Well,
lucky where that obsession was removed from me. And one thing that I will point out is, when it comes to addiction, really the fight is over the obsession. It is an obsession. and it's a brain
Yeah.
disease. That is the
Right.
fact, right? And it's
Yep.
proven now to be a brain disorder. My lipid system, because I have addiction, is firing dopamine 10x what someone who does not have addiction
Right.
does.
Right.
And there have been studies around this, human studies that show the brain of an addict and how we have this super sensitive lipid system that controls our dopamine response. So it's a lot easier for my wife, for instance, to have a glass of wine, which she enjoys every night,
Yeah.
one, and call it a day. For me, I just know, even 21 years later, like, how I am with everything in my life, how I am with my businesses, how I am with my fitness, how dedicated I am to my nutrition, to being a dad, like I
Mhm.
just refuse to be a statistic, specifically in the restaurant business. I became very successful in the restaurant business, and I had the opportunity to meet with a lot of very successful restaurateurs because I was this
Yeah.
young guy who was like making a splash in New York City. And so a
Right.
lot of super successful restaurateurs wanted to meet and talk to me about my business, and I always would ask these sort of elder statesmen, like, give me some advice. And the advice was never about the restaurant business. It was
Mm.
always about family. It was always
Really?
about, don't
Don't
blow
mess
it.
it up.
Don't blow
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
don't be me in many cases, coming from them. Don't be me
Mhm.
and spend way more time focused on my business and not focused on my family, and then either lose my family or be 30 years into this thing and feeling like I missed all of the magic that
Mm.
family brings to the table. I also, very recently, this was a polarizing experience for me, my wife and I, and kids. My wife is Danish. So we were just in Denmark, and we go there every summer. And we were
Cool.
hanging out with a friend, and she had just spent some time with somebody who was dying. And that person knew that they were dying,
Mhm.
and they were young. They were like 52, something like that.
Wow.
But they had cancer and they were dying. And Stina had asked this person, you know, so what is it? Like, you're here, you're comfortable saying that where you are,
Mhm.
what, now that you're so close to the transition, like, what is it? And that person said, nothing matters to me right now outside of spending as much time as humanly possible laughing with and loving my friends and family.
Mm.
That's it. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That is all that matters. And that was like a gift from God for me to be like,
Yeah.
okay, like, so me being comfortable with not growing my company like that, but growing
Right.
my company like this,
True.
and making sure that, like, I have breakfast with my family every morning and I have dinner with my family every single night. And
Yeah.
on the weekends, I do not work anymore.
Good job.
I take this thing when I get home, I put it into airplane mode and I put it away. And I'm with my wife and kids. And I work my ass off from 8:30 in the morning until 5:30 in the evening. And I've got a great team of people around me, but that is my life. And I've figured out that balance. And some days, yeah, do I close the computer and I'm like, damn, I didn't get as much done today as I would have hoped for? I sure do. But at the end of the day, I've got a long road ahead. I've got a long road ahead, and anything that needs to absolutely get done, like, if there's like a fire, I'm gonna be there with an extinguisher, and my team is right behind me, ready to put
Of
that thing
course.
out.
Right.
But 9 out of 10 days, I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting it down at 5:30, and I
Good
pick it
job.
back up in the morning, and I spend that evening with my family because I just
Yeah.
know that those days are numbered, and my kids are still young. I've got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they
Yeah.
still run over to me and cuddle with me and say,
Love
"Daddy, I
it.
love you." And I just
It's the
know,
best.
yeah, that's not going to be the case for, what do I got? Maybe I got 8 more years of that. If that,
Yeah.
is like, it's moments like those, like, take as many vacations. I had a guy on my podcast, this guy Gino Wickman. He wrote the EOS,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial operating system. I had him on my podcast a long time ago, and this is probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I was sort of getting closer to where I am today with this balance, but I wasn't there. I was, like I had just sold Seymour's and I was building Creatures of Habit and I was like deep in it in the throes. And he said to me, I take 150 days off a year. That's what I do. 150 days off. And I
Wow.
was like, whoa, that's a lot of days off. And then
Yeah.
he was like, well, when you really think about it, I take every weekend off. So that's 104 days right there. Right there, I take every weekend off. That's 104 days out of the year. I do not work on the weekends. I take 104 days off. And then I take the month of August off. So that's 134 days off. And then I take at minimum 2 10-day vacations a year with my family.
Sweet.
And I was
Amazing.
like, that is a goal. Like this
Yeah.
guy, super successful, super respected, like super comfortable saying this out loud as an entrepreneur and a
Hmm.
founder and a very successful business owner.
Yeah.
He takes 2 10-day vacations in the month of August off and doesn't work on the weekends. That's my
Mm.
goal. Like I want that.
Yep.
And I'm there. I'm basically there. I mean,
Good
I
job.
probably am shy maybe 15 or 20 days, but I'm damn near close to it. And I think that's very, very important to say. We grew up in this hustle culture in the 2000s where it was just like, if you're not working 14 hours a day, forget it. It's over.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think that there's a time and a place, like early on in my entrepreneurial
True.
career, like I
You
did
have
need to put
to.
in,
Yeah.
heavy time. But yeah. So that was a long-winded answer to your
No.
question.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Like so many takeaways and speaking to me as well too. So yeah, I had fitness studios in Arizona and but yeah, I constantly feel like I need to be reminded of that like as um I don't have that addictive personality per se as well, but I do have like that grind of like wanting to like constantly achieve and it's something that I have to kind of surrender to every single day because I have hit burnout before and I've, opened my laptop when I should be, I have 8-year-old son as well too, and a 20-year-old daughters and then 16-year-old daughters. So it's like I do know how fast it goes. And then I still sometimes get like pulled into work stuff when I, should be on vacation or should be like with my family. So I appreciate that reminder because there's so many of us that, living in America for sure too, that we are always kind of not forced to, but it's right in our face all the time, especially with social media. It's like, just doesn't stop.
Yeah, I mean, I call it getting caught in the ERs, and when people hear ER, they hear emergency room, and I'm like, yeah, but not emergency room. The richer, stronger, smarter, faster,
Yeah.
better, like all those ERs that we get caught in keep us from being here and now. Right? Like, yes, I don't think that there's anything wrong with setting goals and striving and thriving while you're striving. But if it's all about the ER, you're going to miss the point.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Exactly.
be here, experience life, live your life. Don't let life live without you.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's like a bathroom mirror quote, like, put on your bathroom mirror, and it's a good reminder from that the lady in Denmark, who was on her deathbed too. It's like, that's all that matters at the end of the day, and majority of people do say that on their deathbed, like, it's not more about more work, it's about spending more time, friends, family, laughing, living, loving. So, yeah, thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that so much for myself included and many others that are listening too, because, with Life Network and what Ben and Caleb have created too, it's, people who are looking to up-level their life and just to, become the best of the best. And that's what, we have this world that we live in where all of these supplements and gadgets at our fingertips to be the best of the best. But again, what is it for? I mean, those are all great things to do. And we do want to be healthy and, set a good example for our kids and all the things that you do for your boys and, just walking that walk and not just like talking the talk, right? But it's what we do every single day that matters for them. But
What I'm saying is that you can have it all. Is
yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
You can have it all. You
Okay.
can be, a crazy, uh, you know, like, you could be Ben and have, all the gadgets all around, and constantly optimizing, which I think is great. But
Yeah.
I also think that like if you set a boundary for yourself where you're like, hey, like I am going to biohack, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to take the supplements, I'm going to make sure that I'm training on a regular basis, but I'm also going to spend time with my family.
Yes.
Like that to me has been the biggest sort of eye-opening
Hmm.
experience. And even in, and look, as entrepreneurs and busy people, like there are moments where you'll be sitting at the table for dinner and your family's around you, but you're still checked out. And like, I do believe that that's just part of it at times.
Hmm.
I don't think
Hmm.
that, we should be beating ourselves up because of that. But, it's just, when we think of optimization, we think about, better, right? We think
Yeah.
about better. And I'm there. Like I do want to be better in many
Hmm.
areas of my life.
Same.
I don't think that there's a single book, a single experience, a single human that could just change people's lives, right? Like when you open up a self-help book, it's like, you're reading this page, this very book here will change your life. And I'm like, okay, it's not going to change my life. But what I would rather it say is this book right here is going to turn the volume up a little bit on your awareness barometer.
Yes.
Just a little bit. Like you
Yes.
might read something in these pages that really strikes a chord with you that you now can have in your back pocket, so that when that situation arises and surfaces, instead of reacting, you
Mm,
can pause,
that's
take a
good.
breath.
Yeah.
Remember that there is a knob on that self-awareness barometer that just lives within all of us. And reading something or experiencing something just heightens the ability for us to be more self-aware, so that when these experiences come, we can be like, oh, I remember that thing. Let
Right.
me try to apply that
Tap
now.
into that. Yeah. That's super helpful. I completely agree. Yes, because there's so many books out there, or even just like, that like maybe Brian Johnson's approach too. I think of that too, like the extreme, like this is like the only way that you should live. But it's there's so many great wisdom and just tools out there in books and that we can apply like when the time needs it, and you pull that tool out of your tool belt. And but yeah, not I love that reactionary approach, like taking that step back and okay, how can I, best apply this knowledge in this moment? So yeah, that's good because there's so much wisdom out there. It's like it's overwhelming that we're in the knowledge day and age right now where it's like all at our fingertips. And the amount of podcasts that we consume, like, you and I growing up in the 80s, it's like, I did have to actually go to a library and get an encyclopedia. Like when I was doing reports, I'm like, that was a real thing.
Totally.
It's so weird. Okay. But all right. I want to dive into a little bit more about like the hard days. So you did say that of course, you weren't perfect every single time doing that routine I know so many people have that or like, well, I can't do that all the time and I'm going to mess up. And so what was that motivation that got you back on track? And even today when you have hard days and, when you do want to get back into work or like, what is that true motivation that brings you back every single time when we have those mistakes?
Great question. I don't really, if I had to look at it and really dissect what it is that gets me back on track. So I'll give you a perfect example right now in my life, right? I have given myself grace. I'm typically the guy that wakes up at 5:15 in the morning. Excuse me. I have this really epic morning routine way before anybody else in my household gets up. By the time it's 6:30 and they're just opening up their eyes, I've like saunaed and cold plunged and read and wrote and red lighted and the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've given myself grace over the last few months. I've said, you know what, man, like I've had a couple of injuries.
Yeah.
Just let me do what my body wants to do. And if that
Right.
means, and it's also summertime, my kids are getting a little bit older, so like they're going to bed a little bit later, which means my wife and I like to get a good hour together alone, just
Yeah.
mom and dad,
Yeah.
husband and wife.
Very
So like
important.
we're
Good
going to
job.
bed a little bit later, right? And we're going to bed at 10:30 now, whereas normally I'm in bed by 9:30. And so I've just given myself the opportunity to like pause those things. Pause the sauna and the cold and the red light and the meditation and the journaling. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
And
yeah,
that's okay.
I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna brush my teeth, wash my face, put on my contacts, floss, take a piss, say my prayers, do my push-ups, do my stretches, and like hydrate. And that's my
Right.
morning routine. That's
And
what
that's
I'm
okay.
doing, and that's what I'm doing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
We just got back from Denmark, and I ate pizza and had ice cream 7 out of 10 days while we were there, and
Mhm.
I'm cool with it, right? Like, if am I as, like, ripped as I like to be? No, I'm
Right.
not. Is that okay? Absolutely, that's okay.
100%.
It's
Yep.
okay, like, we do go through these things, and, um, I if the habits and the routines are adding, like, more pressure than they are relieving pressure,
Yeah.
and we're gonna go through seasons of that in our
Right.
lives, it's okay to just, like, pause a little bit and just, like,
100%.
let your body do what it wants to do,
Yeah.
and, like, so I'm deep in the middle of that right now, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I still make sure I get my training in, I still eat healthy 80% of the time, but, like, I'm on vacation, my kids want pizza, they want ice cream once or twice a day, like,
Oh, yeah.
we're on vacation, we're going for it, and I'm there with them. I'm not gonna be the weird guy that's, like, ordering the chicken salad at the pizzeria,
I
which
know.
I've
I
been,
know. Yeah. Too funny.
so, I think for me, it's this idea that, like, failure only truly happens when you just throw in the towel.
Exactly.
Failing is not falling off. Failing is
No.
not face planting. Failing is not losing the fight.
Mhm.
As long as you get back on the horse, you're golden,
That's
and,
good.
like, I've coached a lot of guys over the years, and, I say to them, like, I'm a coach, I'm trying to help them. I'm like, "Look, I'm gonna give you a plan. I'm gonna expect you to uphold it to the best of your ability, and guess what? When you fall,
'Cause you
I'm
will.
just gonna pick the ball up and put it back in your hands,
There
because
you go.
I know all too well that we all fall. We
Exactly.
all
We're human.
fall,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is just get back up. Every single day, we get an opportunity to put numbers up on the board. Yesterday is history. No one has ever been able to go back in time
And
and
change
change
it.
what happened yesterday, so wasting energy and brain space on that is useless, and
Mm.
thinking about tomorrow and the next day, like, it's not guaranteed. So,
Yeah.
like, today's the day,
Mhm.
and I've been saying that a lot, like, today's
That's
the
good.
day.
That's good.
You get a day to live,
Mhm.
and you can't live yesterday, and certainly can't live tomorrow. You get today, and so all you got to do is try to put your right foot forward, and that's the way I think about it. I'm like,
That's so good.
all right, today I've got a clean slate. Really, I've got a clean slate. I can put all my energy into this moment right now
Mm.
and know what I want. Know what
Mhm.
I want, because there's a big difference between wanting and having, and a lot of us want, and want kind of, like, is everywhere. We all
Empty
want.
hole
Everybody wants. We all want. We all want. We all want.
all the
And
time.
so the only way to get from want to have is to do. It's like, that's it. There's only one way, right? You can't just have. You got to
No.
do what it
The
is you
action.
want. You got to
Mhm.
take action. So
Yeah.
want plus do equals have,
Yeah.
and that has been my story. And no one's gonna, I remember whatever it was 3-4 years ago, there was all that "no one's coming" stuff on social media, like, "No
Yeah.
one's coming, no one's
Yeah.
coming." And
Right.
it's true, no one's coming. And
Mhm.
if you sit and wait, there's a big difference between being patient and waiting, right? Like, patient is taking action while things happen. Waiting is
Totally.
just useless, right? Like, waiting is useless. So, don't wait. Don't wait,
Yeah.
you know?
And continue to take that action and that step every single day because we will fall. There are going to be troubles tomorrow. It's, biblical. It says in the Bible, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have its own trouble. So, like, stay focused on today because we will have trouble tomorrow. It's guaranteed.
Mhm.
It is spoken from the Lord. And it is, yeah, we're going to have these troubles. But we have to continue to take action and get up and try again. And I love what you kind of your mindset and how you've kind of come full circle into, like, we don't have to be hardcore every single moment of the day or every single season of our life. There are seasons for that and for building your business or, you know, doing a, competition, anything like that, like, we have to prepare for those things, but then there are seasons of life, and it's okay to spend time with your boys, have the ice cream. We just also got back vacation from Florida, and we did, like, the whole, like, Universal Studios, and we had the butterbeer, and it's like we did the whole thing and, the nasty food. But it's like then you just kinda get back on track and you don't beat yourself up about it because that beating yourself up about it, that's what kinda, like, keeps you stuck, and you have that mental loop of just negativity and it spirals, and it's okay. Like, let that be done and move on.
Any minute you spend thinking about and woeing about what you did yesterday is a minute you're not spending focusing on putting numbers on the board today. And that's just the facts,
That is the
right? Like,
facts. Yeah.
I remember when I first, like, after the first 2 years of Meatball Shop, my first business that I launched, it was crazy. I mean, the business took off like crazy. And I got a chance to sit down with this guy, Ron Shake, who is the founder of All Bon Pan and then Panera Bread
Wow.
Company. And within those first 2 years, because we made such a big splash, people were opening up knockoff meatball shops like all over the country and then ultimately overseas. And the
Wow.
Wall Street Journal did a whole piece about it. Like, these two kids opened up this restaurant that made a massive wave in the world of restaurants.
Amazing.
And we sat down with Ron at our West Village restaurant, and Daniel and I said, how should we think about competition? And I'm telling you, like, this guy, he almost had a heart attack. He was like, competition.
Yeah.
He's like, the minute you spend thinking about what other people are doing is a minute you're not spending thinking about what you're doing.
So
Don't
good.
care about what anybody else is doing. You focus on what you've got in front of you, because
Yeah.
that's the distraction. That's what's going to
Mhm.
derail you. You start paying attention
Mm.
to them, and then you start thinking that their ideas are better than yours. Your
Right.
idea is the idea.
100%.
Your idea
I
is the
love it.
idea. And I was like, that was it. Like, that was an amazing piece of advice.
Yeah, and that goes with every single thing in life, not just business, but, like, comparison is the thief of joy, right? And, like, when we compare, like, well, the grass is always greener on the other side, whether it be, like, a spouse or their kids or no, like, focus on what you have in front of you and the blessings and the gifts that have been given to us and grow into and sow into those seeds that have been given to us, so I love it. Oh my gosh, so good. Michael, you are amazing. I can learn so much from you every single day. So, okay, so I want to go back to just because we have Creatures of Habit inside Life Market. And so you talked about how Marcus told you to eat the bowl of oatmeal and that kind of, started some of the Creatures of Habit movement. So I know it's not just a product, it is a whole movement. And what you're teaching people, it is like those daily disciplinary habits when you don't have to like think about what you're going to wear or do or eat. So can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. So there are very few wins we can control in life, right? What we put into our body can be a win that we can control. How we move our body can be a win that we can control. What time we wake up in the morning can be a win that we can control. I kind of think about it like this: you're sitting in the stands of a horse race, or you're at the races, and you're in the stands, and you got your money on this horse, True Religion, and you're like, I got my money on True Religion, and you're watching the horses at the gate, and they're ready to go, they're banging up against the gate, and then you hear the gun go off, the gates open up, and the horses fly out of the gate.
Yeah.
True Religion trips and falls out the gate. Those horses are gone. They're gone. True Religion catching up to those horses, very slim chance. That's how I like to think about my morning. Don't be True Religion. Don't trip out the gate.
Yeah.
Be a horse that's like ready and prepared and just gets that early start to my day. That is how I'm going to win. I'm going to succeed in that early part, because it's not that I'm necessarily going to win the race 100% guaranteed, but I've got a good shot. I've got a good shot. If I start right, I've got a good shot. And I think about life that way, right? Like, in the morning, we get this opportunity to really, those gates open up, those eyes
Here we
open
go.
up. Like, that's when it
Let's
starts. You
go.
got to go, right?
Yeah.
And so, um, you know, the little wins in the morning, the little wins in the morning I didn't know that Marcus was sort of planting these things for me. But
Mhm.
those little wins make the biggest waves
Yeah.
because they compound over time, right?
So good.
And to out of nowhere get a big win, typically it takes like an army of people, right? Like
Right.
selling a company,
It's a
it
lot.
takes an army
Yep.
of people. You know what I mean? But like feeling good about yourself, which is
Mhm.
arguably the definition of happiness, it's fleeting at times, but like that is my opinion, like what success and happiness is. Like, how do I feel about myself right now?
Yeah.
It all starts with the little wins. And it's not that like some days we're all going to just wake up unhappy and disgruntled and frustrated. And sometimes you just have to like roll with it and, not like spend all day wondering why this is. Just be like, all right, today's just not the day. And, I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to stick to my habits and my routines.
Yep.
And, tomorrow's a new day. But
Right.
I kind of look at this controlling the controllables, like being able to own the little wins. And so when I was just getting sober, Marcus was like, I want you to eat this oatmeal. I didn't question it. I was like, all right. And ultimately, I've been eating oatmeal as my first meal of the day for now 20 something years, right? It's fueled me through coming through addiction. It's fueled me through competing in Muay Thai. It's fueled me through multiple marathons. It's fueled me through getting married and being a dad. It's fueled
Yeah.
me through competing in bodybuilding and becoming a pro bodybuilder. It's,
Amazing.
like it's fueled me through
Everything.
everything in my life. This is how I start my day. I don't ever think of breakfast. I don't ever question, what am I going to have? I know that I have this really simple, delicious meal that I have been it's like being able to, like there's nothing better for people that are sort of optimized humans. There's nothing better drawing lines through the to-do list, right? Like it's so nice to be able to
Right.
be like,
Check it
that's
off.
done. Let's check it off. Right? Like imagine you just had a line through that breakfast forever. You just never
Yeah.
had to think about it. You just know what it's going to be, right? Like
So good.
for me it's like walking out of the house with shoes on, right? Like if I'm going to dinner, I'm not walking out barefoot. I know what I'm going to throw on a pair of shoes. Like when I'm traveling, like I'm not worried about what the hotel breakfast bar is going to have because I got meal one in my bag. Like this is
Exactly.
what I do.
Love
So
it.
when I got out of the restaurant business in 2019 and the pandemic hit and I moved to upstate New York, I had some time to think about what my next move was. And I knew that I needed to make a pivot. And as entrepreneurs, we are, capable of pivoting. And I said,
Mhm.
I'm going to go into the world of consumer packaged goods, and wellness has
Yeah.
been the foundation and cornerstone of my happiness and success. I've
So
got to
good.
launch a business in wellness, and I've got to be able to not only launch a business in wellness that I stand behind wholeheartedly, but I also want to be able to tell my story of overcoming adversity. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter how far gone you are. I was knocking on death's door. It's never too late. Like you can change. And
So
even if
good.
you don't need to change, you can always add another optimization tool to your toolkit.
Right.
Right. And like Ben, no one ever, like I sent Ben a bunch of meal one early on and he was like, dude, this is it. I'm like, he's like the optimization king. And
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
I never think about breakfast anymore. Like
Yeah.
this is what
It's
I
done.
eat. I take it with me everywhere I go.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the idea. I was like, all right, I've got to come up with something that is incredibly authentic to me, that I stand behind 100%, that would most likely not take a lot of education to introduce to the community or to the
Right.
market. And I was like, my oatmeal. This is it.
Yeah.
Like this is what I've been eating every single day.
I love it.
So I came home from a run. I thought about this on a run. I told my wife what I was going to do. She rolled her eyes and she was like, wait, you're going into the oatmeal business? And I was like, no, I'm going into the life optimization business.
Yes.
I'm going into a business that is going to offer easy nutritional habits to people that they can enjoy and use on a daily basis so that their lives become just far easier, because that is what it's done for me, right? And I spent a year working on the formula and came up with it, and I pitched it to Gary Vaynerchuk. He loved it. He wrote
Yeah.
the first check,
Love
and
it.
that was it. Off to the races. I launched Creatures of Habit, and Creatures of Habit is a lifestyle and wellness brand rooted in nutritional healthy habits. Let us help you make better decisions so you can live a better life. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah.
And that it starts with the beginning of your day. So
Mhm.
meal one is a win. That's how I look at it. It
Yes.
is, like as boats are leaving the marina, they need those buoys to sort of guide them to
Mm,
not like hit the sandbar, right? Like
mhm.
meal one is just a buoy. It's a buoy coming out of the marina, right? Like you see it, it's flashing,
Yeah,
like that's like your sign to be like, all right, go this way now. This is your
that's so
sign to
good.
like win. You're not going to
Yep,
hit the sandbar. You see it, it's there, it's a flagpole. You're going to go this way and you're going to now
yep.
follow the rest of the buoys throughout the journey to get out of the marina.
Yeah,
And I kind of look at meal one that way. Um,
I love it.
and so that's what we did. And, we're coming up on 4 years. We're actually kicking off
Congrats.
thank you. We're kicking off a crowd fund for the
Yes, tell
brand.
us.
I was not thinking about raising money necessarily, but a friend of mine who I deeply respect in this industry said to me, "Hey, have you ever thought of a crowdfund?" And I was like, "Never." I always thought crowdfunding was like, "Hey, throw me a life raft," or, we're just getting this thing started. But this guy, Andrew, was like, you have a really engaged community and you've built an awesome community of thousands of people that subscribe to Meal One on a monthly basis. Like you should make them owners of your business. Like they
Yeah,
would they would not only want to support you and be a part of this thing, but like giving them an opportunity to be an owner in a business that they absolutely love is like awesome for them. It's something that
yeah,
you're giving to the community, and we're
right,
not asking for a lot of money from everybody. I think it's like a
right.
$500 investment as a minimum investment, but it just gives them a little chip to win with us
So
for
cool.
real. And so I was like, very interesting. And then I
Yeah,
started doing some research and looking at other brands and other businesses that have done crowd funds. And it was like really inspiring to me to see some of these big brands with like that we all know and love that have launched successful crowd funds because they have great communities. Right. And so I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like I'm gonna grow and build
yeah.
this brand with the people that love it most. And that's what we're doing. So we're launching that very soon.
Oh my god, and the people that you continue to help and impact because you are continuing to speak to that person who you once were. Like, maybe it's not a person who did have, the overdose and, but you're speaking to the everyday person. Like, for me specifically, like, with Meal One, it's a no-brainer. It's like it helps me with decision fatigue because we have, like, as a mom, it's like our heads are spinning all the time with so many things we have to do, and that, like you said, it's just like one thing, and that's the domino effect that just knocks it out, and you just keep going down, 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 down.
Look, you think about the one asset we all have is time. And it's the one asset that is arguably the most valuable, but is not purchasable. You cannot buy more of it.
Right.
Everybody gets the same amount, right? You
Yep.
get 24 hours in a day. Everybody gets the same amount. It's even Steven. Pod is right. Like you cannot buy more. And so the thought of being able to give people more time by
Mhm.
eliminating the decision fatigue, right? Like, what am I going to eat? What am I
That's
going
what
to
it
have for
is.
breakfast? Like, even if it takes you 5 minutes to figure it out and then 10 minutes to make it, like, meal one takes 30 seconds to make at night before you go to bed. You just add almond milk or oat milk or regular milk to the pouch. You shake it up in
Yep.
a jar. You put it in the fridge. In the morning when you're ready to have it, or in later on in the day, whenever you eat it, it is legitimately like a 10-second decision. And the only decision is open up the refrigerator,
Right, right.
like open it and grab it. So like
Yep.
there is no time. You just earned, time can't be bought, but it can be earned. Right. And
Mhm.
so, you can earn back that time by simplifying your life. And so that is really at the core of what we've done. It's that, right? It's giving people time back and giving them not only time back, but like bonus time because the product is super clean, healthy, and optimized.
Yeah, because it's not just a junk oatmeal product, like, it is optimized. What, 30 grams of protein? How much protein is in that again?
30 grams of
30.
protein. It's got chia seeds, flax seeds, and pumpkin seeds in it for omega 3s. It's got a probiotic, really awesome, robust probiotic. It's got digestive enzymes for gut health, and it's got vitamin D3. So it's got all the good stuff in it. And another thing that I should mention is that, oats alone, not awesome, right? They'll spike your
Right.
blood sugar, and it's kind of like, I mean, they're complex carbohydrates, so they are going to be a little bit more slow burning than just eating like sugar. But at the end of the day, oats alone aren't going to do what meal one does. When you have
Yeah.
oats, protein, and fat, and then 10 grams of fiber, because it has 10 grams of fiber per serving, it's
Yeah.
a slow burn and it barely spikes your blood sugar. I mean, I've worn CGMs with it. I've got a lot of people that are diabetics that one of the things that I do as the founder of Creatures of Habit, and something that I'm really passionate about, is I will open up our Shopify store. I'll go into the orders. I'll start calling customers from the top of the list. I'll just be like,
Amazing.
I'll call them and I'll say, hey, this is Michael Chernow, the founder of Creatures of Habit, the company that
Wow.
you get meal one overnight oats from.
That's so
And they're
cool.
like, no way. And I'm like, no, yes way. This is me. And
That's so
I've
fun.
had some of the most incredible conversations. And people have been like, I'm a diabetic and I can eat this. There's so many
Wow.
things I can't eat because it'll spike my glucose levels. And,
Mm.
you know, and that's been like amazing for me to be like, wow, and it wasn't like I created it to do that, even though my father
Mhm.
was a type 1 diabetic. I created it because this was just a meal that I ate that I thought everybody would really enjoy and make their lives easier. But ultimately, because of of having a, a heavy dose of protein and 10 grams of healthy fat, 10 grams of fiber, it does not spike blood sugar the way regular oats does, not even close.
Wow.
So it's just it's really a one-stop shop all in one. And then we didn't even mention the Creature Sleep product. So
No,
Creature
we
Sleep,
didn't.
it's a super delicious way to wind down. I don't drink alcohol. So for
Yeah,
me, having like a nice way to wind down at night is important. I also have a nasty sweet tooth. So I wanted
I
to
do
I
too.
wanted to develop a sleep support that was relaxing, that didn't have any mood or mind altering substances, that did not have any melatonin, because melatonin messes me up in the morning. And obviously, as we've been talking for the last 30 minutes, like,
Mhm.
mornings are very important to me. I wanted to create this product that I can have to sip on at night that would sort of quell my sweet tooth, but also give me, an opportunity to relax and then get good, deep, qualitative sleep. So I spent about 18 months on the R&D on Creature Sleep. It's been available for about 2 years now. And it's this sleep support hot chocolate. It was developed to be a hot chocolate. It's only sweetened with monk fruit. It's 35 calories per serving. It's super delicious. It's got some MCT oil in it to make it a little viscous, so it's got some richness to it. But you can also shake it on ice and make an insane chocolate milk. So it's a delicious chocolate milk. That's how I have it in the
Sweet.
summertime.
Oh, that's
And it's
great.
just this like my little sweet tooth quencher that I have every night at 8:30, about an
Yeah.
hour and a half before bed. And it really does help me get good qualitative sleep. So we have, you wake up with meal one, you wind down with Creature Sleep, and we're launching our third SKU in the fall, which is going to be a super clean, very, very delicious protein bar.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
yep. So it'll
Yes.
be this midday protein bar, and there's an ingredient that we've added to it that I think is going to help us stand out amongst the pool of protein bars out there that I won't mention
Okay.
yet, but I think everybody will be really excited about it because it's the perfect ingredient to optimize a protein bar.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm really excited about that. So the story, the sort of wake up to wind down story, is
Yeah.
really what we're trying to create, like
That's what you
lean
have.
on us to give you to just save more time, right? Like I'm not going to compete with Quest Bar and David Bar. Like we're using super clean ingredients. I want this protein bar to be the bar that you stock in your pantry. That
Yep.
is just in your house. You order it, it shows up every month. You have one every day. It is the
Yeah.
perfect snack. It's going to get you 20 grams of protein, and it's delicious. And you rely on us for that.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to try that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so with the crowdfunding, like, if how do people get into that? What should they do?
Yeah, very easy. You can go to creaturesofhabit.com/crowd,
Okay.
and that's the URL. Very simple. Creatures with a K. And you can learn more about it. Again, like I'm trying to, I said on my social media last night, obviously I'm a competitive dude. I said, I'm really trying to break a record on Start Engine and be the fastest closing crowdfund in history. So we're trying to close it within 2 weeks. So anybody that's listening to this podcast,
Yep.
when do you think this will go live?
I'm gonna push it to the editors to get this one out ASAP for you.
Yeah, so like help support that, and
Yeah.
just know, there's another piece of the brand and the business that I didn't mention, which is my story of substance abuse, I'm deeply, deeply passionate about raising awareness for substance abuse and substance abuse
Mm-hmm.
prevention. You know, th- the leading form of death in Americans between 18 and 45 years old is overdose right now. It's insane.
Wow.
But,
Really?
oh, yeah. The
Oh,
leading
geez.
cause of death between 18 and 45-year-olds in the United
That's
States
so
of America.
sad.
I think that there was a recorded 108,000 deaths last year from overdose. And that's just recorded. That's probably, like half,
Way
if
more,
if not if
I would
not if not
imagine.
more. But
Mm,
overdose and substance abuse disorder is a real thing in our country, and it's global, but it's really polarized here. People are
yeah, it
dying like
is.
crazy. And
Yeah.
so I know a lot of those people that are out there struggling, people chalk them up as useless and, just wastes of life. And I
Mm-hmm.
just know that's not true. I know that these
I
people are
know.
struggling and they just
Yeah.
don't believe or know that there is a way. But if you took every single one of those addicts and said, hey, if you could snap your fingers tomorrow and not be living the life that you're living right now, would you? They 9 out of 10 would say 100%.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't I hate this life, but they
Yeah.
just don't know a way out. So what I've done is we raise money every year with an organization called Release Recovery Foundation. I'm actually running the New York City Marathon with them this year to raise money and awareness. And every year we do an event called We'll Wear the Weight, where a bunch of people come to New York and we put on weight vests and we ruck all around New York City. And what that money goes towards is taking addicts or alcoholics who are struggling but really want help and don't have the financial means to get help. We actually pay for their treatment journey. So we pay for
No
their full,
way.
yeah, we pay for their full treatment journey. Treatment is expensive, and
Oh my
if you don't have
gosh.
insurance, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So we've put a number of people through that program, and a good deal of them are still sober, and we've saved
Wow.
lives. So that's a
Oh,
piece of the business that is very important to me. That's a real mission. It's not the overall mission of Creatures of Habit. Creatures of Habit's mission is better habits, better life. Like that's
yeah.
just what we're trying to do.
Right.
But our social responsibility mission is to really help as many addicts and alcoholics that are ready for and willing to go through treatment into treatment and see if we can save their lives.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So everybody head to the link. We'll make sure to drop it in the show notes to continue on this amazing mission that Michael and his team are on. And gosh, yeah, not only are they just great products, you should just get the products because they're amazing, but yeah, just the whole mission behind it too. So thank you, Michael. I know we are well over into our time and I want to be super mindful. So we are definitely gonna have to have you back because we can go so much deeper on, just parenting and kids and faith, all those type of things. So I'd love to have you back, maybe even just for a Q&A would be super fun. We have a lot of our members that drop questions and that I know that would be super helpful to them. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing that I would leave with that I think is maybe not for everybody, but
Yeah.
really meaningful to me is faith. Faith is a big part of my life, and
Same.
I some people cringe when they hear that, right? For me, it's just been about developing a relationship with a power greater than myself. And I didn't understand what that meant early on along my journey. But I had a guy say, "Come over here, let me talk to you about this higher power thing."
Yeah.
And he looked outside. He said, "Look outside." And we were in this apartment. And he goes, you see the trees are blowing in the wind? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, who did that? And I was like, the wind. He was like, who did the wind? And I was
Right.
like, I don't know. And he was like, well, neither do I. He
Yeah.
was like, but there is a power out there that did create that. And then he had like a strawberry. He had like a little thing of strawberries. He goes, take a bite of this strawberry. And I was like, oh, that's delicious. He's like, who
Yeah.
made that? And I was like, Mother Nature, the
Mm.
earth. And he was like, yeah, who's Mother Nature, the earth?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, neither do I. But I do know that I talk to it every day and I stay sober. And that relationship is the most powerful relationship in my life because it doesn't judge me. And
Amen.
I can say whatever I want to it. And it gives me confidence that I can walk through the day supported with hope.
Yeah,
And so I would just leave with that.
I love
If
it.
there is someone listening that is struggling or just wanting a little bit of a shift, wanting a little bit of a move, wanting to feel a little bit more supported, a little bit more confident, start talking to God. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
so
it's so
true.
important to me.
Yep.
It's so important to me. I talk to God every day.
Yeah.
And I thank God every night that and my life is good. And if there's one thing that I've done incredibly consistently every single day without fail, I do not miss it, is talk to God in the morning on my knees and I
Mm.
ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And my life has been great, you know? So I wanted to end with that. I don't even know if that, like if that's something that, makes it into the podcast because I
Yeah,
know
no,
some
it will.
people are little, but it's important.
It
It's
will.
important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important to me as well, and to Ben and Caleb, and the whole like underlying mission of Life Network is, community and self-transformation through community. We can't do this alone. And for myself as well, too, it's like that daily surrender. Like, you die to yourself every single day is kind of like the way I look at it, right? Like, we can't do this alone. We're not meant to do this alone. You need to be surrounded by community, but like there is this hole created in our hearts and every single one of us, this void, and we always try to fill it with drugs, alcohol, sex, food, whatever, and nothing is going to fill it or satisfy it unless you have that like true like power and connection to God. So that's the way I view it too. But I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, thank you, Michael.
Awesome.
You're amazing. We appreciate you so much, and we will get the word out ASAP about your
Thank you.
crowdfund. Oh, yes, we will. And I'm just grateful for your time and for being with us on Life Network and just being just so real and raw and honest in conversation, and then just what you do every single day. You're the best.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
awesome
you,
being
Michael.
here.
All right. We'll see you guys all next time on Life Network, and stay tuned for the next coming out with Michael and his protein bar. Oh, I can't wait. All right. Take care. Thanks.